Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another late night stream of mine. And it's UBOAT again. So once more we dive into the role of a German Second World War submarine commander. And as you might know, if you're following this stream now and then, we are doing a complete playthrough through the war. We started from the very scratch in September 39, on the eve of the Second World War, and we went through all the different theaters and scenarios, one by one, mission by mission. I shared every single minute with you on Twitch, and since a while I am also uploading the experience to YouTube afterwards. So sorry guys, I really just don't have the time for cutting, but I think still there is some of you who have a bit of patience and some interest in the gameplay. You will find snippets along while scrolling through the videos, and there is always a bit of an exciting action there. But first and foremost, I am happy to share this one live again with you guys on YouTube. Yeah, here we go. Meanwhile, we are in the Mediterranean in comparison to the scenarios and theaters that we had before, that we went through before. The Mediterranean is relatively quiet. And we are pretty deep already in this Battle of the Mediterranean thing. You see, we already have finished the first 2 levels, and now we are on the way to sink 250,000 tons to finish this one. Yeah, so still 65,000 tons to go. I am actually thinking about maybe doing something different in between. Like, for example, this top secret mission here. Ship was sunk. Cargo hold was loaded with gold and valuables. Problem is that the area is frequently patrolled by Allied warships. Only a U-boat would stand a chance to complete the mission. So the problem is that we would probably have to do to send a diver down, and this we can only do being on the surface while enemies patrolling around. Oh, well, let's consider whether we would like to do that. But while thinking about that, let's erase all these data points from our last mission. This is due to the fact that I'm playing on almost maximum difficulty level, also not having automatically plotted the position of contacts on the map, but I have to track them manually. But there are a few drawing tools which make that pretty comfortable. So we did actually sink quite a few guys on that last mission. Now the question is, What type of mission would we like to do next? Because end of last mission we returned to our temporary home port of La Spezia in North Italy. And I think we have replenished already our stores. Let's see what we have. In terms of food, it looks alright. I think in terms of equipment, yeah, just as well. And I think we also refilled the torpedo tubes already, also the external ones. Yes. What about my stern torpedo tubes? They are refilled just as well. Yeah, there are no external storages astern. So looks like, yeah, somebody could turn on the pump once. Looks like we are ready to cast off again. Now, open port menu. Sorry. Open the port menu and see. Nope. Here, Flotilla. Chief of Operations.
Ja, Herr Kommandant. Was benötigen Sie?
Yeah, I'm ready for new orders.
Ein Blick auf die Karte, Herr Kommandant. Wir haben aktualisierte Aufklärungsdaten zu den Nachschubrouten in der Arktis. Hier sind die vorrangigen Planquadrate für Ihre nächste Feindfahrt.
Hey, that doesn't make sense. Talking about the Arctic. I actually did finish the Arctic convoy mission set. Oh wow. That would be a large sector. Difficulty low. Strong winds. What about that? Difficulty medium, also strong winds. We could go back to the flotilla of Brest. Yeah, this would be high difficulty. Ah, foggy weather, that's not good. The anticipated number of vessels for all the areas is actually small. Come on then. Let's go for this medium difficulty area with strong winds and still small number of vessels, but let's go for them.
Gute Jagd, Herr Kommandant.
Thank you very much. I think with this we can finally undock. Let's go.
Kleine Fahrt voraus. Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
So we are casting off at night time. It's 11:15 in the evening.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Yeah, beautiful. There is the lighthouse of La Spezia in front of us. Casting its light in restless circles.
Alarm! Aufgefechtsstation!
Yeah, okay. That's just fishermen. Guys, you can step away from battle station. It's just fishermen. Okay, rain is being forecast, but at the moment it's not raining, obviously. So let's accelerate time a bit to get us out of the port. There we are. Yeah, this is the lighthouse. Yeah. So let's see what we can do this time. Yeah, on the first leg it doesn't make much sense to do any hydrophone checks.
Aufgefechtsstation!
Yeah.
Alarm beenden.
Wir werden das gemeinsam durchstehen.
Hey, come on. Why is the crew strained and stressed? However, let's give it a save. W462. On the way out. Yeah, where are we on the timeline? Wow, it's the 6th of January. So I have to admit, well, how did I call that stream? New Year? Yeah, I just wasn't aware that we skipped so far into the new year already, but of course, loading torpedoes and all that stuff always takes a few days. And here we are already on the 6th of January in the year 1944. it's still relatively shallow. Well, it's not that shallow. 200 to 300 meters. So, come on. I think we can do some test diving. Let's do that. So I am using just one single mod, and this is the Deep Leaks mod. And this tells us a bit what this is about. So the Deep Leaks mod actually introduces the concept that the boat is not just instantly crushed when it exceeds a maximum depth, but that as soon as you start to dive underneath 160 meters, you have successively increasing probability of having kind of minor leaks, like a pipe blowing away or a gasket given way. And you can repair these, and each repair makes the boat a little bit more resistant, because you kind of burn out the weaknesses. And you see, I already had been burning out a bit. And now we are gonna do one more test dive and see how deep we can actually go.
Auf maximal sichere
So guys,
Denkt alle an eure Ausbildung. Bleibt ruhig und konzentriert.
give us a crash dive.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Alles klar, ich werde mich darum kümmern.
So Mr. Grade opening the valves. So right now water is filling the ballast tanks. There it goes. And yeah, everything takes a little time. And this is what I love so much about the game. It's not just like you're controlling a machine directly by tapping keys on your keyboard, but you are really issuing orders to real crew, and the crew actually has to carry out certain actions, and only
Auf
then
E-Motoren wechseln.
your order comes into effect. And this concept feels so great.
Geräusch. Peilung 30 Grad.
Yeah, these noises, I'm pretty sure that this is fisherman.
145 Grad.
That's
25 Meter.
all fishermen.
Meter. Aktuelle Tiefe 60 Meter.
Meter.
All right. 75 meters.
Schraubengeräusch. Peilung 150 Grad. Ich erwarte Ihre Befehle.
A whole bunch of ships, but I still think that it's just fishermen. Around here, yeah, it just doesn't make sense to chase them. They're fishermen.
Meter.
All right, going down. Let's see when the first gaskets are gonna start to blow away. The last time we went down to, I think, 100, 230, or maybe even 240 meters.
115 Meter.
Tauchen auf 170 Meter. 130 Meter.
Schraubengeräusch. Peilung 140 Grad.
Aktuelle Tiefe 140 Meter.
By the way, we could get a ping from the echo sounder.
Meter. Melden Sie mir die aktuelle Tiefenmessung.
So what is it?
Aktuelle Tiefe 160 Meter.
Schraubengeräusch. Peilung 160 Grad.
But what's the depth underneath the keel?
170 Meter. Melden Sie mir die aktuelle Tiefenmessung.
Schraubengeräusch. Peilung 155 Grad.
So guys, why don't we get a decent echo sounding?
175 Meter.
Melden Sie mir die aktuelle Tiefenmessung. Ja. Melden Sie mir die aktuelle Tiefenmessung.
Why doesn't it work?
Melden Sie mir die aktuelle Tiefenmessung.
Why don't I get any feedback? Yeah, looks like it's 100 meters under the keel. Roughly.
Schraubengeräusch. Peilung 10 Grad.
Aktuelle Tiefe
Okay, 95 roughly. Let's get deeper, guys.
200 Meter.
Hey, yippee up! Nice to have you in. How are you doing? Long time no see.
175 Meter.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
185 Meter.
Very sorry to hear that. I mean, glad to hear that the videos help a bit.
195 Meter.
Yeah, okay, so although you haven't been in the Twitch stream for a while, you are kind of up to date what the status of our campaign is then, I guess. Yeah, I'm fine. Pretty busy the last weeks, or say, the last 2 months were pretty busy at my job, but it's fine. So, point is that I went back to just streaming on Thursday, Friday, Saturday night usually. Not too much time to do additional streaming, but yeah, that's fine.
205 Meter.
So I'm testing or utilizing the Deep Leaks mod again.
Tauchen auf 220 Meter. ...200 Meter. Ja.
Okay, 50 meters under the keel.
210 Meter.
I remember that my uncle had an echo sounder on his boat. And it did look pretty much like that. Even back then. In the, what was it, late 80s, early 90s.
Aktuelle Tiefe 215 Meter.
And still 40 meters to go. 20. 60.
220 Meter.
Tauchen auf 235 Meter.
Yeah, just a bit of water in the bilge. That's perfectly fine. Let's see how deep we can go until we get some
225 Meter.
Wow. Now we are getting really deep.
220 Meter.
Yeah, discipline is still high. That's all right.
...230 Meter.
I think the last time when we did such a test dive on the last mission, we went to something like 240. Here we are.
235 Meter. Verstanden. Betrachten Sie es als erledigt, Herr Kaloy.
Okay, please repair that one, Mr. Schneider.
Meter.
Okay, I don't know why, but it's not really working.
Verstanden, Herr Kommandant. Jawohl, ich kümmere mich darum. Zu Befehl, Herr Kommandant.
Okay, let's
Lenz,
turn
Pumpe
on the
einschalten.
pump, although
Wassereinbruch im Bugtorpedoraum gestoppt.
the efficiency of the pump that deep is close to zero.
Wassereinbruch in der Kombüse gestoppt.
So do we get the water out
250
like that?
Meter.
Slowly. But we do get some water out down here. But that's slow, that's a very slow rate, pump rate. Yeah, that's because we have to work against that enormous pressure out there. So the pump is having a hard time. Can we get a bit deeper?
Tauchen auf
Maybe I
245
should
Meter.
give it a save. Now we are doing some risky things. Yeah, let's get a bit deeper. And Captain,
Ja,
please. Ah, no, wrong direction. I want you
aktuelle Tiefe
to
245
check
Meter.
the echo sounder.
Verstanden. Betrachten Sie es als erledigt, Herr Kaloin.
Ja,
250 Meter.
Okay, still 70 meters underneath the keel, it says. Could be. Could well be.
Wassereinbruch im Maschinenraum gestoppt.
Okay, very good. But probably we are not getting the water out again at that depth. Yes. If we get the boat a bit higher, from where are we? 250 to 230.
auf 230 Meter.
And the pump efficiency should be a bit better up there.
Rohr 2 gewartet. Aktuelle Tiefe 245 Meter. Meter.
Mr. Schneider is preparing some new spare parts, which is good.
235 Meter.
Ich erwarte Ihre Befehle.
Ich erwarte Ihre Befehle. Herr Kaloin?
Ja? Herr Kapitän?
So what Yeah, and the water is getting out now that we are 30 meters further up. We really get the water out.
Meter.
Meter.
Okay, there we are. We got rid of the water.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Ja, Herr Kaloin, ich kümmere mich darum.
Now let's get down to
Tauchen auf 250 Meter.
260.
Tauchen auf 260 Meter. Ja.
Okay.
240 Meter.
Jawohl, ich kümmere mich darum.
Alles klar, ich werde mich darum kümmern.
Alles klar, ich werde mich darum kümmern.
Meter.
Tauchen auf 240 Meter.
Yeah, they keep them under control, these leaks.
Wassereinbruch im E-Maschinenraum gestoppt.
Wassereinbruch im Offiziersraum gestoppt. 245 Meter. Torpedorohr eingewartet.
Herr Kaloy?
Wie lauten Ihre Befehle, Herr Kaloin? Ja,
Herr Kapitän?
ja.
Herr Kapitän?
240 Meter.
Okay, Mr. Henry, he's not a mechanic, he's the radio man. This is probably the reason why it takes him so long to do the repairs.
Wie lauten Ihre Befehle, Herr Kaloin? 245 Meter.
240 Meter. Lenzpumpe einschalten.
Yeah, that seems to be a relatively small leak, by the way.
Tauchen auf
Yeah, let's
260
see
Meter.
once more if we could actually reach the 260.
Meter. Verstanden, Herr Kommandant. 255 Meter. Aktuelle Tiefe 260 Meter.
Wow, 260 meters.
Wassereinbruch in der Kombüse gestoppt.
Wassereinbruch im Bugtorpedoraum gestoppt.
Wassereinbruch in der Zentrale gestoppt.
265 Meter.
Wow. All right, come on, let's get back to the surface.
Tauchen auf 10 Meter.
We went as deep as 260 meters.
260 Meter.
So I don't know how deep the Deep Leaks mod actually goes, but a thing that would be great would be if, this replacing weak parts by proper parts, if this would be reset by depth charge. I mean, when the boat gets depth charged, it might get new weak points, and then this number there should decrease again. But I'm not sure if the mod is going that deep. But for now, let's get back to the surface. And now I am avoiding one mistake that I did sometimes in the past. Never blow the tanks when you're that deep, because this bit of compressed air pressure that you have doesn't do any much against this enormous pressure outside. So before blowing the tanks, you have to get into the range of, definitely below 200 meters. Maybe better 150 meters before blowing the tanks, or you would just waste the compressed air.
Aktuelle Tiefe 220 Meter.
Yeah, we are getting the water out, aren't we? Well, looks like the boat is dry. For now. Hey, Aqua Icing. Good evening. How are you doing? By the way,
200 Meter.
yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. Just an hour ago, I still was in Toronto. I mean, at least on my TV screen, I was in Toronto. Guess what I did? Beautiful stadium, by the way. I was pretty fascinated by these roof constructions. Exactly, yes. So we were very relieved about that last goal, but I think that means that we are gonna
180 Meter.
have the next match against France. Could that be? Challenging, for sure.
Meter.
Ah, okay. So I think at that point, blowing the tanks actually does make sense.
160 Meter.
Now blow the tanks, guys.
Meter.
So at 150 meters, what does it do if I order blowing the tanks? Pretty slow.
140 Meter.
Awfully slow to get the water out.
120 Meter.
Guys, you can step away from alarm.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Natürlich, Herr Kalon. 100 Meter.
Yeah, by the way, how are you doing, Aqua Icing? How was your Saturday?
Aktuelle Tiefe 80 Meter.
I've been on a little party with an old school friend.
60 Meter. Meter. Auf Dieselmotoren wechseln.
And here we are. Here we are back to the surface. That feels a bit of a relief. Ah, Ecuador. Okay, interesting. All right. Yeah, but yeah, they're pretty good as well, probably. Ah, okay, some family meeting. So when you call it like that, it doesn't feel 100% enthusiastic. Ah, okay, okay, yeah. So you went to your parents, I guess? Yeah, tomorrow I'm gonna visit my mother, actually. My father died. Yeah, but hey, come on. What is it? It's 15 years ago or something? Yeah, he died pretty early. Ah, okay, yep. Yeah, my father died something when it was in 2005 or 2006. Wow, come on, that's 20 years ago, unbelievable. Yeah, my mother's still alive and she's fine, and I'm gonna pay her a visit tomorrow. It's something like a 3 hours drive from here. And I took a day off on Monday visiting my mother, and yeah, back there in my hometown, an old school friend of mine. He is a doctor, and there is some things I have to check. And so I like to, yeah, let it be checked by a guy whom I really trust. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's always a weird feeling when you have some traditional a meeting and then somebody's missing, isn't it? On Christmas, yes. Yeah, we had some tradition. I mean, in Germany, we used to celebrate the Christmas Eve on the 24th of December, and we had, since I was a kid, we always met in this circle, which was my parents, my grandfather, and the two brothers of my mother with their wives. And that was always great. And I remember how weird it felt when, first my grandfather was missing, and then my father was missing, and then my one dear uncle was missing. And now, just last year, my other uncle died. But my mother is still fine, yep. Yeah, I was pretty close to my uncles, actually. Not so much in the last years, because we were separated. Just by the distance. But still. Yeah, I might have mentioned my one uncle. That's the one he died something like 6 years ago. It's quite some time ago already. So he had some ugly kind of cancer. And not very often, but now and then I had some nice long phone calls with him. And back then I remember that one day he was telling me something about what kind of cancer diagnosis he actually had, and I immediately remembered that it was exactly what all that he said was what I read about Steve Jobs, and for me it was pretty clear that it was something like he's gonna live for another 5 years and he wouldn't make it any longer, and I think it was clear for him just as well. And still, he actually made the best out of that time. Until the very end, he was doing things, and he was active and alive, and back then, at that time, we were living in Berlin, and he paid us a visit there with my mother and my other uncle and aunt. And when he asked me if I would like to have his boat, it was pretty clear to me that he was thinking that it was his last days, and it actually was. Yeah, looking back, I'm very sorry. I actually didn't have and still don't have the money and the time to entertain a sailing yacht. And so he sold it to one of his club mates. Which is a pity, because when I was younger I actually had several trips with him on that yacht. So we went to the North Sea and things like that. I actually sailed across the channel with him once. So, looking back, I sometimes wonder if I Should have maybe cared for that nice little boat. So he was not a rich guy. He was just a working class guy, but still he kind of managed to keep up that yacht. Hey, Vulvulu, and weight loss, great to have you in. How are you doing? So I was just a little bit kind of drowning into sentiment. So good that you're there and get me out of that. Yeah, I was inspired by that little discussion I had with aqua icing. But yeah, let's stop this. Let's stop talking about dead family members. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm perfectly fine. I was on a party earlier to Frankfurt. So an old school friend of mine lives in the center of Frankfurt, and he had a little party. And so we had a nice afternoon and early evening, and then we went back here and watched the match. The football match. Yeah, weight loss, what do you think? I mean, if you have an Eigner-Gemeinschaft, it might be like that, right? But if you have it on your own, you have a place to where to put it, a mooring, and every 1 or 2 years you have to give it a new paint. And yeah, my uncle actually, he was doing a lot by himself. He was pretty practical. Well, actually, he did build that ship. A lot of that. He only bought the hull. He only bought the empty hull, and all the rest he actually installed by himself. Back then, many years ago. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, when I was young, like when I was 16, 17, 18 years old, I did a lot of dinghy sailing. And at that time also a few nice turns with my uncle on his boat.
Torpedo-Rohr 5 gewartet.
I just don't think that we have anything else here than a fishing boat. Let's get away a bit before we really start the chase. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yep. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. You're right. Yeah. Yeah, but he was. It was his thing, so his hobby. So he had that boat, and most of the year he had it on the River Rhine, moored there, and then extended holidays, something like 6 weeks. He took it and sailed down the Rhine and did some trips at the North Sea coast. Wow, that's a good business idea to do team building sessions. And companies usually pay well, or at least better, if you would rent it to private guys. That sounds like a good idea. Yeah, let's still go on.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Jawohl, Herr Kaloi. Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Yeah, on the Eiselmeer, exactly. We once did that. So we have this bunch of old school friends and we are still close. And so once we actually, it's something like 5-6 years ago, we rented one of these on the Eiselmeer. So we were a bunch of, I don't know, 10 guys or something. 10 or 12 guys, and we rented one of these. This is exactly what you describe, yeah. And yeah, if you do call it team building and do it with companies, I'm pretty sure that you could do a load of money, yeah.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Jawohl, Herr Kaloi.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
There we are on the move. It's nighttime again. Yeah, if you would even do it in cooperation with an NGO, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's great if it works out. I mean, anybody who has a fascination for water. How was it in Herman Melville? Meditation and water are wedded forever. He writes at the very beginning in this then I go to sea part. Hey, BPAT. Yeah, great to have you in the chat. Thanks for joining. And no, you can't. You can't. It's just kind of a time orientation, yeah. Yeah, like Vulvulu writes, we follow the historical events, yeah, whatever we do. But for me as a German, this is perfectly fine, because as a German, I'm pretty glad that the war ended at one point and that all of you guys actually rid us of these madmen here in Germany. So I would have a problem with the game if it would if you could actually change history, because looking back, I'm pretty glad with the outcome of the war. But on the other hand, what we discussed was that maybe if you would have the war kind of going a bit longer or something, if you do better. Yeah, yeah.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Yeah, well. Ah, we have new intelligence on the radio.
Funkraum besetzen.
Anybody saw when this occurred? Since when do we have that? Probably. Ah, no, it's just all the fishing boats, so I'm reporting having spotted fishing boats, yeah. No real point in that. Hey, Beepad, thank you very much for the follow. That's very kind of you and much appreciated. Yeah, weight loss about the swastika. I mean, I'm pretty glad that we don't have it in the game because it always gives this kind of, yeah. I mean, you could say it is historically correct, but on the other hand, I just don't want to. I don't want anybody to think that I'm kind of glorifying that stuff. Just a few months ago, I actually tried a tank simulator. I don't remember the name, but what really pissed me off a bit was that the tank simulator put a lot of emphasis into, yeah, kind of the message that this tank squad, this German tank squad you dropped into, was an SS tank squad, and yeah, kind of. Being historically correct or not, but I just don't want to dive into the role of SS guys. I can't. I just can't.
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
And from that point of view, not having too many symbols like that makes it a bit easier for me to kind of dive into the game. And yeah, it's the soldiers, and this always, yeah, it reminds me a bit of the attitude of my own granddad. So he was a professional soldier, but he was no Nazi. I'm pretty sure he wasn't. I mean, a lot of people think that their granddads were no Nazis, and they were, but I had a very close relationship to my granddad when I was younger. And yeah, I think I do have a bit of a good estimation of what kind of guy he was. Okay, by the way, shall we do a little hydrophone check around here?
Tauchen auf 50 Meter.
Not to get too far out onto thin ice. Well, that idiom probably doesn't quite work in English, does it? So, there we go down. Oh, by the way, what is the weather? It's 12 knots of wind speed, which is already relatively much,
Aktuelle Tiefe 5 Meter.
quite a lot
Wechseln.
for the Mediterranean.
Meter.
25 meters, let's go. Now the usual question arises. Is this just one of these fishermen? Guy, you can step away, please. Yeah. So medium speed. Could be a merchantman. Could be a merchantman. Let's go for that guy.
Meter.
Schraubengeräusch. Peilung 105 Grad. Schraubengeräusch. Handelsdruck. Peilung 25.
Yeah, B-Pad. It's very fascinating, isn't it? That's what fascinates me so much about submarines. It's such, like, looking back at that time, it was such an advanced piece of machinery. Wow.
55 Meter.
Loads of contacts. Now again, so this one. Wow.
165 Grad.
Moving away. And one more. Closing in. So maybe we're gonna go for this guy first. But let's finish the hydrophone check. There seems to be a lot of things going on. Let's just make sure that we don't miss any contact. Yeah, I think many years ago I went to the Technical Museum in Munich. And if I remember right, I went into the model that they have there. I think they have the model there that was used for internal, for the movie actually, for internal scenes. Here we are completely silent in the depth of 50 meters, and down here the hydrophone develops an enormous range. Let's see which range we actually get with this. Okay, 85. It could be more, but with something like 12 knots going on up there, this gives quite a bit of noise, even down here, reducing the maximum range a bit. But as you see with the hydrophone, we are able to detect just any moving propeller within that range. This is one part of the amazing technology that was put into these submarines. Particularly from today's point of view, it was a hybrid vessel actually, with diesel and electric engine. Yeah, of course it was, but yeah, imagine how long it took until this concept came back.
45 Meter.
So let's turn around and see what this guy is. If it is just an ordinary merchantman, it would maybe go with something like 8 knots, and then after 1 hour it should be
20 Meter.
on that circle. And what about us? We are gonna go flank speed, having Mr. Arles at the engines with 2 hands supporting him. He will get just anything out of the engines, and we will go, in 1 hour we should go something like 60 knots. Right now it's a 2:45, so we're gonna go for 1 hour.
Torpedorohr 5 gewartet.
Yes, yeah, well, maybe this is a bit about gameplay. I mean, if you have a 10 times smaller range, it would be just too much of a pain to find contacts. So I could imagine that this was really kind of a simulation and gameplay choice to make the range much longer. I think you mentioned that there are mods which kind of modify that, right? Let's give it a save. And go for 1 hour. Quarter to 4. Yes, yeah. Yeah, I'm late in a complete playthrough through the war, but if I would finish this playthrough sooner or later and start a new playthrough, I think I would carefully choose quite a bunch of mods to actually make the game more realistic. Aqua-icing, just as you say. Yeah, quite some time since the last patch. So here we are. We went for 1 hour, and let's do the next hydrophone check to get a next data point on all these guys. So one single contact doesn't reveal anything about their direction and speed, just their position. So going exactly 1 hour and doing another hydrophone check should reveal about their speed and about their direction. So let's keep fingers crossed that all these guys are no slow-moving fishermen, but Medium speed merchantman.
Aktuelle Tiefe 20 Meter.
Yeah, the problem that I see with mods when you're deep into a playthrough like I am is it might be that you install mods and then it looks like they work perfectly fine. And then you go on and just after something like 2 in-game months you find out that there is something fucked up with the mod. And then you have to reload all the way back old games, and yeah, this is something. This is some surprise that I don't want to have in this long-term game that I have. But starting a new game, maybe in a few months, I think I'm gonna do quite some modding. Let's just hope that the good mods will be updated to the new update until then. Yes, yeah, 100% agree. Aqua icing, yeah.
50 Meter.
Yes, yeah. I know that you have a good list, and you now and then you did mention some. So the Deep Leaks mod that I have running at the moment, I actually got from you, weight loss. So it was your recommendation, and I think the device energy mod as well. And I am so eagerly waiting that somebody updates it so that we can use it, because that mod is awesome, the device energy mod. But it is not yet updated, and there is a lot of reports, I think, that it doesn't yet work properly with the Type 9 and generally since the update.
Herr Kapitän. Schraubengeräusch. Handelspfiff. Peilung 5 Grad.
Okay, that guy is there. That pretty much looks like a slow mover. Ah, come on. No, this is most probably a fisherman, I would say. So what do we have here? Please don't let all these guys be fishermen.
Ich erwarte Ihre Befehle.
Hello?
Herr Kapitän.
That pretty much looks like a faster moving guy, does it? Yeah. Hard to say.
Ich erwarte Ihre Befehle.
This one could be a slow-moving merchant. But let's see what we hear about the other contacts. Yeah, there is the seasickness in that mod, yeah, but I think, yeah, I didn't play it very long. I just played it for 1 or 2 weeks before the update because I was curious, and I'm not quite sure if I got the seasickness. And I think you could probably turn the seasickness off if you go into the code.
Anblasen.
Okay, we didn't get any more of these contacts. That's a pity. So I think I would try to go for that one. I think I would like to go for that one.
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
Let's go for
30 Meter.
1 more hour.
Auf Dieselmotoren wechseln.
Herr Kaloi, wir sind aufgetaucht.
Five knots, 5 miles per hour. Might be a merchantman. Okay, we are back to the surface. We are moving flank speed. Let's go. 1 hour. It's 5 to 4. So let's go until 5 to 5. And there we are, and let's do another hydrophone check.
Tauchen auf 50 Meter.
Okay, so here we see all the crew running to the fore compartment again to give additional diving ballast. Crew hands manning the depth steers, Mr. Schultz in this case opening the valves so that the seawater can stream into our ballast tanks and flood them. And so finally the boat gets dragged down.
Aktuelle Tiefe 5
Auf
Meter.
E-Motoren wechseln.
Schraubengeräusch. Peilung 145.
Okay, pretty fast. We already get some propellers detected.
25 Meter.
That's this one.
Meter.
Yeah, maybe it's moving faster than I thought. So let's see what we hear about the other guys.
50 Meter.
Herr Kaloin?
Torpedorohr 2 gewartet.
Aktuelle Tiefe 55 Meter.
Schraubengeräusch. Peilung 30
Als ich der
Grad.
Marine beigetreten bin, dachte ich würde die meiste Zeit auf dem Deck eines großen Schlachtschiffs verbringen. Aber hier bin ich, zusammengedrängt in einem winzigen U-Boot mit euch Jungs.
50 Meter.
Okay, that's this one. Third data point. Yeah, it's more or less confirming our previous data and assumptions. Looks like he's going 5 miles per hour, which is maybe faster than a fisherman would do. But no other contacts. There were this one and this one, but I don't get any more from them.
Ich erwarte Ihre Befehle. Schraubengeräusch. Handelsschiff. Peilung 130
Okay,
Grad.
another one.
Schraubengeräusch. Peilung 315 Grad.
This could be the S4. Could well be. That would be my guess.
3 gewartet.
Ja,
And it's this one. Mm-hmm. 2 hours. Could be, could well be. And what about the other contact?
ich erwarte Ihre Befehle.
So that guy has been moving for 10. Okay. That's a slow one.
Anblasen.
Yeah, now let's go until 6 o'clock. So this guy, assuming he's moving with 5 knots,
25 Meter.
he would end up there, and us, we there. Still being in a decent distance of this ship.
Auf Dieselmotoren wechseln.
Herr Kaloi, wir sind aufgetaucht.
This guy looks pretty interesting, and if he is continuing his course like that, we could try to intercept him later as well. But let's first check out this one here. Back to the surface, 12 knots. Let's go until 6 o'clock. Well, let's give it a save, some intermediate save. And there we go. For 1 more hour, and then we are gonna do the next hydrophone check to get a better and better picture of the situation. Time, yeah, it's getting evening. The sun is already down. I love this graphics. Beautiful game, beautiful scenery. And here we are.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Jawohl, ich kümmere mich.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Tauchen auf 50 Meter.
So, let's get another reading with the hydrophone. Yeah, right, Aqua. I think that's so beautiful. They did a great job with that overall graphics and the different weather, giving completely different atmosphere and the time of the day,
Aktuelle Tiefe 5 Meter.
Sunset.
Motoren wechseln.
sunrise, and the different seasons and different places in the world. Beautifully implemented.
25 Meter.
This is an important groundwork or fundamental
Schraubengeräusch. Peilung 55 Grad.
for the game. And important part, I think, why
45
I do
Meter.
love it so much, and probably a lot of people do. So let's hope that they keep up the good work and start
Schraubengeräusch.
continue
Peilung 280
to be in
Grad.
love with details
Aktuelle
so
Tiefe
much as
50
they
Meter.
used to be.
Herr Kapitän?
Okay, next data point here.
Torpedorohr 5 gewartet.
And other contacts.
Herr Kaloi?
This one. Okay, that's a bit weird. Having changed course could indicate that it's an erratically moving fisherman.
Schraubengeräusch. Peilung 150 Grad. 50 Meter.
Kurs setzen.
Herr Kaloi?
And this one is probably the follow-up of that one, which I called SO4.
Ich erwarte Ihre Befehle.
Yeah, that's promising. But yeah, let's first finish checking this one, find out whether it's a merchantman or a fisherman, and if it's a merchantman, sink it, and then we are gonna deal with this guy there. Alright, let me be AFK just for 1 minute. Don't go away, guys. Alright, back again. So I need a little bit of late night snack, but tonight I'm gonna try to stay healthy. And it's just a bit of French bread, baguette. So please excuse the munching noises.
Anblasen. 50 Meter. Auch diese Motorenwechsel.
Okay, the watch has changed, shifted to Mr. Schultz being the officer of the watch, and Mr. Schultz being my bosun. He has no idea about the engines, so sorry, Mr. Arles, it's your off watch. Ah, no, okay, Mr. Grade, sorry. You are gonna care for the engines in peril so that we can keep up flank speed. Now it's 6:10. Let's carry on for 1 more hour. So these guys, where would they be in 1 hour? Would be there. What about us? 1 hour would bring us, yeah, nicely in front of them. Let's do it like that. Do we have eyes on them? No, I don't think so. Yeah, weight loss, you nicely described the shortcomings that they had in the end of the war, yep. And here we are, right in front of them. Let's give it another hydrophone check to make sure
Auf 50 Meter.
that my dead reckoning is correct. Yeah, let's see.
25 Meter.
Is it them? Yep. Yeah, they are moving pretty slow, but my gut feeling still tells me
45 Meter.
that this might be a merchantman.
Aktuelle Tiefe 50 Meter.
Schraubengeräusch. Peilung 235 Grad.
So the guy has changed course and he's moving with
55 Meter.
just 4 knots. This is a fisherman, I think.
Ja. 50 Meter. Schraubengeräusch. Peilung 160 Grad. Ja.
Yeah. That's him moving pretty fast.
55 Meter.
Well, 8 knots, it's not that fast, yeah. But faster than the other ones. Yeah, it might have been pretty hard to actually outmaneuver hedgehogs. I guess they were coming down pretty fast.
Wie lauten Ihre Befehle, Herr Kaloy?
So, distance 7 miles.
Schraubengeräusch. Peilung 300 Grad. Ja.
Okay, another one. A new one, actually. Wow. Lots of traffic around here. Yeah, 70 knots underwater, yeah. Yeah, sorry guys. I'm having a little late night snack. That's the noise.
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
So let's head towards them.
40 Meter.
Yeah, in the darkness it will be difficult to figure out whether it's an armed transport or an unarmed one.
20 Meter.
Auf Dieselmotoren wechseln.
Herr Kaloi, wir sind aufgetaucht.
Alright, let's get the skipper on the bridge with some support.
Halbe Fahrt. Voraus. Kurs setzen.
No eyes on the target yet.
Wie lauten Ihre Befehle, Herr Kaloi?
So we are roughly moving twice the speed. Something like that.
Torpedorohr 3 gewartet.
Yeah, they should soon. Yeah, BPAT, in principle you're right, but what weight loss actually I think is aiming for is that you could actually change course. So you would hear the hedgehogs being fired and hitting the water, and in exactly that moment you could kind of change your course and maybe slip away. So here we car now. Let's
Kleine Fahrt,
get
voraus.
a little bit slower, but now we should get some eyes on a smoke column ahead. Or of course it's still possible that it's just a tiny fisherman. Could still be. And alright guys, if I look at the time, we are approaching 3 o'clock around here at my place. I mean 3 o'clock at night. And yeah, I have to admit that tomorrow morning I still have to work a few hours. And yeah, so please excuse me for tonight. I have to turn in. It was a pleasure to have all of you guys in. So, BPAT, thank you very much for the follow. That's warmly appreciated. Great that you joined the chat. Good night, Weight Loss. Always a pleasure to have you. And Aqua Icing, great to have you. Wolvaloo was in just as well. Not quite sure if you're still there. If you are, have a good night. I mean, at your place it's more or less exactly the same late hour as it is here. And yeah, Weight Loss, of course, for you, just the same. And yeah, who else was in the stream? Colin? Ah, yippee yap. Yippee yap, if you're still there. Have a good night and all my best wishes. And Colin, if you might have been in and just lurking, have a good night just as well. So, see you guys for, yeah, it's Saturday night, so probably I'm not gonna do a stream tomorrow. My next week is pretty busy, so my next stream will probably only be next Thursday. So, looking forward to see you again and have a good weekend. Bye bye, guys.